Good morning, everybody. Who is being hit by this horrible storm coming through? It's coming through the Big D, and I do mean Dallas, through Arkansas, into Nashville. I think my girl, Little Bitch, is going to get a little bit of it. Angel Peace, it's heading her way. 2 more inches for our girl, Diana, and that's not how she likes her inches, but we are live and shit. They've already called off schools, all over Oklahoma. All in the southeast part of Oklahoma. Closed. I see that True Crime Beat says someone needs to send her some coffee ASAP. V. Oakley is probably in the same boat. Connie said Florida is freezing. What is the temperature in Florida? And I very rarely feel bad for my Floridian friends. What is the temperature? Good morning, Pamela Tate. Nufflin asked if OJ is still high from his catnip. Greg called it, what did my husband call it? German weed. Yeah. Melissa, Indiana's freezing. Gay Lee said, starting here just south of Fort Worth. They said around 10:30 it was going to start there and start moving up. We're supposed to get, they said, this is how great our weather people are, okay? Now, they love that tornado shit. But when it comes to the white stuff, when it comes to the snow, this was our forecast. Dusting to 1 inch. Okie Bree, where are you? You said you've already had some snow. Connie said 34 degrees. How y'all going to keep those oranges and everything going? We need our orange juice. Someone be like my neighbor and go put some protection on those things. Nope. Get back, OJ. You're good. Go take a nap. Go eat your breakfast. I don't need you in here right now. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to start with this. The distraction around Sebastian's case is absolutely crazy. We have some third-party players. This Nick guy who hasn't even visited Tennessee. Dog the Bounty Hunter, he was there, but that was for his son's wedding. SF Investigates, he actually brought some really important stuff out this week, in my opinion. Multiple PIs who have all reported back to Seth that Chris Proudfoot was not there. Pop-up searches, neighbors who have been saying for months Sebastian was known to run and hide. Big old rumor that their house is for sale. Well, it's not. That was a fake ad. Katie's pleading the fifth. Well, Katie hasn't been put on the stand. And look, I'm no fan of Katie's. I'm going to be quite honest. I think the woman has quite the mean streak. We look at this. This came from good old Chrissy Poo. Consider this your formal and only message from my wife, Katie, and myself. Do not, for any reasons or circumstances, contact us in any way again. If you need to contact us, you need to reach out to Sumner County Sheriff's Office or Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. So, is that what they mean by pleading the fifth? A big old FU to Nick and Dog? Is that what they mean by pleading the fifth? To me, it's pretty cut and dry. Don't bother us. Call them if you have something. I don't know. Again, not a fan. But let's go ahead first and let's tell everyone, happy Thursday. Stay warm. Welcome your neighbor. Give a big old internet hug. A lot going on, but nothing that leads to Sebastian. A lot of rumors, a lot of stuff that don't add up. Bunch of arguing about luminol and canines. I don't quite understand where the argument's coming from. One woman was freaking out, and she said they can't sell the house until we have proof that they've luminoled the house. I'm sorry they didn't tell her. I really am. As far as the dogs coming through, this was a simple search out of Nashville. Widener says the house has been searched at least 10 times. Dogs? Yes. Widener says bloodhounds and cadaver dogs were used, but none of them were ever on the trail of Sebastian. To date, it's as though the boy simply vanished. Have you found evidence of Sebastian out there yourself? He was asked. No. So if he is actually known to hide, where have they not looked? Because I think we can all agree. This is January of 2025. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. No way. Well, I'm going to start with the dispatch. Now, we don't hear Katie's voice, but we can tell what's going on from it. This is from a woman named Jessica Danielle. She got the dispatch, and I think it's great work. Rexy said he could have wandered into that construction area with the big manholes that were not covered. I have thought about that too. And not to be grim or to upset Seth or anyone involved, the odds of him still wandering around Tennessee are pretty slim to none. But hey, crazier things have happened. Let's go through the dispatch. Remember, this is Jessica Danielle that clipped this.
1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised that their 15-year-old male is not in the bed. We are white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism.
Okay, so Katie says this is the first time it's happened. Yet, SF Investigate says, no, he was known to wander. He was known to hide. She also says to the dispatcher, he has a form of autism. I'm not on the up and up with autism. So what is a form of it? Let's listen to that again. This is actually very important.
We are white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism.
Juvenile does have a form of autism. I don't know what a form is. I know what a form is, but what is a form of autism?
This is the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. The doors are locked at this time.
Did Foreman out?
Central to 47-180, 412. Juvenile left his son at the house. The mother is driving around looking for him in a Victoria Place subdivision, and she is driving a baby blue Infiniti.
Let's get there and see what's going on. Do our own searches of residents. We'll go from there. I'm in the area.
Okay, 6:56 a.m. He says, I'm in the area. They said she's driving around another subdivision in a baby blue Infiniti. Okay. And he says, I'm in the area. All right. So that's at 6:56 a.m. It didn't take long for them to start alerting the neighbors that Sebastian is missing.
Check one hold up. See.
You can text me at this line and route to the missing juvenile.
I checked personal medical center ER, Southern Station ER, Southern Regional ER, Anti-Line, all clear.
Okay, right here, and we'll go back to that. Real Rock and Robin said another subdivision. Why not their subdivision? So I don't know. I mean, she obviously had to leave their subdivision to look for him, but she's in a totally different subdivision. Question is, did he have a friend over there that he would hang out with? Why was she in that subdivision? Very good question.
The juvenile. You can see like the code red has them on at 745.
Next big track back up, going into the construction site over here, back towards the beach.
It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? Couldn't have any shoes.
Doug, is it? I do have some footprint.
Right there where you're standing?
Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining.
No shoes, just footprints?
He literally dove into it. Max led me straight to the retaining pond. He dove into the water.
Have you seen any prints around it?
There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Do we have a picture yet? That's simple. What was that heat signature at? Where the riprap is, where the trees are. 25 feet maybe out in.
So they did find something. They did find something. Shay said Chris still doesn't have an alibi for Sunday night and the early hours of Monday before 6. Well, he was on the phone with Katie for 3 hours. That's confirmed. And Seth's private investigators have said he does, that he was there. So I don't know. And why did it take him until 1 p.m. to get from Memphis? If he was told that early in the morning, he should have been home by, say, at the latest 10:30. But it seems to me with the heat seeking, the footprints, they did find something in that construction site.
Hey guys, the construction zone, there's another pond. There's somebody standing in the woods. It looks like a person. It is a person, we know, but there's another pond. He's standing back there by himself. Past the construction zone, in the same area back there. Yeah, the north end of it, yeah. Down over here, go straight back. There's a person in the woods by that pond. There's the house on the other side of the tree line. Going back toward beach or going on the back side? Yeah, on the back side, and he's not moving. He's just standing there by himself in the woods.
It's Hendersonville 517. I'm on the northeast corner in the cemetery across the tree line. Am I close?
No, the back side. Nikki, if you can, do you have anybody there with you? Stand by. Let me see if I can find it on my map. I got my drone grounded for the moment, and I'll see if I can do it. Target's over it. One of the two. I'm in my truck. Two, there's 4 of us on foot coming across the yard, start directions. 19's on the screen. Straight in. Keep it on. Go left. He's come back, you passed it. There's obviously right here. Won't be there's one walk with you going into the woods, You should be about 15 foot from it.
What's the child's first name?
Should be all over it, whatever it is right there. The 2 people walking the woods. It's a mannequin. Sorry, guys. Look.
It's a freaking mannequin. Who the hell puts a mannequin out in the woods? Is this some sort of decoy, or has the mannequin been there for a long time? I understand putting a scarecrow in your garden to keep birds and stuff away, but a friggin' mannequin? So we're already way behind the timeline from when they were alerted, okay? Way behind. This is insane.
Look just like a person from the air. Hendersonville 66. What's the name of the child that we're looking for? First name is Pat.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
First name is Pat. The last clothing description was black sweatpants with a white stripe, black long sleeve t-shirt with a print.
Yeah, perfect.
Mickey, how many drones do y'all have up?
One at the moment. I've got mine grounded so I can get Sartopo up. I'll be back in the air momentarily.
29 Central on scene.
Okay, so at this time they have one drone up. And this is a great question from Wild Child for Life, wondering if that mannequin was also dressed in all black, as it is said Sebastian was. Yes, I want to know too. They're like, sorry, it's a mannequin.
Put 2 out here with me.
10-4, has anybody been there since the initial? There's a whole bunch of people here now. 4 in the morning.
Can you help me listen to the radio on the north end until we wrap this up, please?
Yes, sir.
Brandon, you've got Hendersonville Mountain Patrol coming up there, and Joe's sending some more cars if we can start from the beginning, from the original house, and set up a new plan up there.
10-4, that's what we're doing now, sir. Thank you. $1 So neighbor advised that he's found the child under his son's car, which is across the street, 2 doors up. So be sure and search under cars and under things.
Okay, so a neighbor said that Sebastian was hiding under a car at one point. So they're like, search under all the cars. He might be hiding under a car. Why did everyone that knows Sebastian deny that he runs off and that he hides? This is important information to know. Does anyone have an opinion or a comment on that? They said they spoke with a neighbor that said he hides, that he was found under a car one time. Why is he hiding under cars? What was he hiding from? What was he running away from? This is extremely important. And I know there's a lot of people that say, the neighbors lie, the neighbors are fake. Oh, come on. Enough with that. They have no reason to lie. Most people just want to get back to their daily life and not have a bunch of riffraff going on in their neighborhood. Who is he hiding from? Who was he scared of? I think his mama has a mean streak. I really do. Because if old Chrissy Poo's 3 hours away in Memphis, his daddy's at work. He didn't see him the whole month of February. Sounds to me, process of elimination, he was hiding from his mom. That's what it looks like.
Who do you want to go with this other K9 search and rescue?
I just talked to the GC, the construction by Kerry's going to start getting the word out to all his crews that are out here working. Everybody, 94 to 1,000, so we can get a game plan and reconvene.
Oh, Target, can you put a drone right over top of this trash can, this dumpster, if there's anything in it? 188. Van 184 is going to send you a picture.
You send out a code red for 1,008 staff.
Code red was sent out at 07:45 this morning.
2-4. We will stand that in good. Can we retry that, please?
10-4, love it.
12 188. Go ahead, sir. Can you come to 1,008, please? 12 to any units that are going to be assisting with 1,008. Please come to 1,008 staff report now, please.
Start at the beginning of Kelly Lane 1000. We're going to work our way north of Kelly Lane. That's fine. I'll get these 2 houses right here, and we'll take the right side. The white Ford truck, that's the Hendersonville officer's house that's with me. No, that house hasn't been checked. The next house up from is a see the white Ford in the driveway.
We log a neighborhood Facebook page. Post was made 1023. Check. No motion on camera.
This is insane. People in the neighborhood are already at heightened awareness. They've already had Secret Service officers, everybody coming by. They were already told, yeah, he does hide. He was under a car. Somebody checked their camera already. All of this is already going on. And this is at 9:42 a.m. But back to my original question. If he seriously walked out that door to hide what was going on in that house that he felt he needed to hide from. This is significant information. Very. Real Rock and Robin said that construction should have been halted during the search, in my opinion. I thought it was. Was it not? Alexis said sometimes they hide because they think it's funny. Yeah. Kids do that.
We've had an additional caller call in that was in the van stating she saw someone that made the description on Hogan's Branch, male with sandy blonde hair, with a bag wrapped around his head. She also stated he had on a reflective jacket approximately 2 hours ago.
30 command. 139 World End has a camera, but nobody's answering the door. He had some ties at White House High School, and every time he got in trouble, he wanted to go back to White House, so I notified White House PD. We're notifying this, sir.
His way up with the camera is correct.
It's difficult. Nobody's answering, nobody's home.
Well, yeah, people go to work. So if someone has a camera and they're not answering the door, it's not because they want Sebastian gone. It's because they're at work. They're at the mall. They're at the grocery store. I don't know. But this is very intriguing to me. Listen to this again. Every time he got in trouble, we remember Katie saying, "You're not in trouble. Just come home." Listen to this again.
The neighborhood Facebook page. Post was made 1023. Check. No motion on camera.
We've had an additional caller call in that was in the van stating she saw someone that made the description on Hogan's Branch, male with sandy blonde hair, with a bag wrapped around his head. She also stated he had on a reflective jacket approximately 2 hours ago.
30 command. 139 World End has a camera, but nobody's answering the door. He had some ties at White House High School, and every time he got in trouble, he wanted to go back to White House, so I notified White House PD. We're notifying this, sir.
Okay, so he went to White House High School, and every time he got in trouble, I'm going to assume at home, he wanted to go back to school. Now, we do remember Katie saying that she went to the school to find him. I think a lot of information was withheld from the authorities. And I agree with Broken Gothdoll when she said, "You're not in trouble, just come home." That gave me chill upon chill, goosebumps, hair standing up. How often did he get in trouble and for what? What the hell is going on here?
His way up with the camera is correct.
It's difficult. Nobody's answering, nobody's home.
In reference to that address, please run a registration check on Tennessee tag.
Tennessee.
Access Factory 2012 BMW, 750 black and color, registered. At that address. Confirmed NSR.
When you can't see it, you can find any information. See if we can look up on a phone number or something. We would appreciate it.
Command the units that are at staff report. When you check a residence, Please give me the numeric and unit numbers that have checked it and whether or not you made contact with anybody.
Made contact with 1000 Killing Lane. He checked all of his cameras. Nothing was on. No answer at 102 or 103 Killing Lane. 105 answer, hasn't seen it. Nothing on the ring doorbell.
And for you saying 102, is it 1002? 102.
1002, I'm sorry.
Did you ask if he had a white purple hoodie?
I don't know if the parents will know, but just find out if he owns a light purple hoodie with homosexual on it.
Can they ask?
Mom doesn't.
Okay, Britt has a really good point. This was during the weekend at night. His safe place was unavailable. Wonder if he was trying to make his way to the school and something happened. I never thought of that. I agree with Coffee at Tiffany's. What a cool name. How many, grandmas and grandpas, I'll say grandmas and grandpas, she said nannies and papas, take off on vacation when their grandbaby is missing? Only the Bowersocks. Alaska, Puerto Rico. The only other one I can think of is Summer Wells' grandmother. Who would even think to leave town? This bullshit non-refundable tickets and stuff. What are we talking about here? Non-refundable tickets? Now, speaking of the Bowersocks, Kathy posted in a Facebook group. She said, not asking for consideration here. I don't expect that from anyone on this site. If you have the nerve to call my personal and business cell phone and leave a disgusting voicemail, be adult enough not to block your number. I don't hide my identity, yet you feel entitled to act in this manner. And to the one that left the message, don't worry about me burning in hell, because with actions like yours, your place in hell is already reserved. Woo! What do y'all think about that? What the hell's going on there? Why would anybody be calling her ass anyway? It seems a little childish to me. But, crazier things have happened. Not gonna lie. Crazier things have happened. My goodness. And thank you so much, Kimberly Mann. Thank you so much, Sophia. Making it rain in here. If you've received a Crime Lines and Lies membership today, you thank our girl Kimberly and or Sophia.
Just calling. Yeah. They were at Circus Fair last night, just bowling. Do you have a unit go there? Make sure that he hasn't returned there. 1015 have ring cameras, but didn't pick up anything.
517 Hendersonville is with me. 1000 contact, haven't seen anything either, nothing on the ring doorbell. 1012 Killing Lane through 20. All 1012 go through the entire.
The lady at 1032 Kellen runs the neighborhood Facebook page, and she's updating it to request people to look in their crawl spaces and hidden areas.
Hey, on at 1000 Killing Lane, did y'all happen to check the crawl space?
I will have to check my list, but if it wasn't locked from the outside, it was checked. 1018 Stafford. They are reviewing their camera footage right now. I need to check contact and the cameras checked. No, that's fine.
184, your low volume. They got cameras checked.
It will 1018. And I'll be out at St. John Missionary, 1085.
Resident at 1028 Keller Lane states that he just saw a kid with a black shirt, black shorts, had a phone in his hand coming across the construction. When he made contact with this gentleman. Subject went straight back to the woods at the top of Helen Lane.
I just talked to him. He's the one helping.
Well, thank you.
12 all units, when you're done with your assignment, please come back to 1008 Stafford.
2020.
Okay, we got a lot going on. A lot going on. Good morning, Elsa. A lot going on. So they're like, when you're done driving around, get back to the house. Again, comes down to this. Where could he be? If he is known to run, if he is known to hide, where has he hidden before? Where has he hidden before? His mother would have to know. She's with him the most. She denies him running. She denies him hiding. But it's all out now. It's actually been out for a very long time. But denied by idiots. Denied by total idiots.
3, 24, 18, and 16. Stafford, ring cameras, nothing's been called. Operations have started at Willow Bend Drive, St. John Baptist is clear all the way along. When we dumpsters and both truth buses and everything also. They're making that.
10-4, are you going back to Stafford Court?
Still on search, but general area.
1026. Helen Lane, no contact. 1028, made contact, nothing on their cameras. And 1030, contact, nothing on their cameras, and nothing in the treehouse behind the house.
10-4.
66, man, all houses on Helen Lane have been checked.
And Brad, those woods on that side of Long Hollow, we've been unable to fly to due to the distance with the drones. So those big woods that's south of the house, we haven't been able to get chisel. All the properties on Vandywood Court have been checked. We're starting on Honeysuckle now.
Yeah, that's 3293, Long Hollow Pike, beyond the creek, and checking a cave behind the house.
I'm almost back to the house. Meet my partner.
Okay, this is the part that really got me because there's always been a lot of speculation about summer wells and caves. They're like, we're checking the cave. I see a lot of arguments with people saying, oh, they didn't liminal. They didn't use the dogs. Chris and Katie wouldn't let the dogs go in the house. Yes, again, here is the article. They said the house was checked at least 10 times. Cadaver dogs. The whole 9 yards. Widener said to date, it's as though he simply vanished. Well, there's no such thing. Unless you want to vanish. Now, as far as the neighbors and their cameras, I don't know. I mean, I know our cameras, we have an app. And you can put the time in there. You can scroll through it. We don't get a lot of activity in this neighborhood. It's not like a convenience store where people are coming in and coming in and coming out and coming out. Crime Traveler, that's not true. You're going to be sued next. For what? What's not true? What are you talking about? I just put an article up. It says none of them were ever on the trail of Sebastian. To date, it's as though the boys simply vanished. That they used dogs and everything. The hell are you talking about? Yeah, don't time her out. Let her talk because I want to know. Okay, back to my thought. I lost my train of thought for a second. They've gone through all of this searching and everything like that. He's poof, gone. Now it comes out, which would have been very important, I would think, to the authorities, that he was known to run and hide. But they were even checking the cave.
I crawled back into the cave as far as I could go before it got muddy. No footprints, and it's collapsed only in about 10 feet.
10-4, but you're out of it, correct?
Sounds like
Trooper Grinder has himself and a few troopers. They're going to hit the roads outside of our immediate vicinity and just look for him walking down the roadway somewhere.
3301 Long Hollow Pike has been cleared. It's a stone house. Several outbuildings have been cleared. They're unlocked if anyone else wants to look.
I just sent you the endangered poster. If you can put that on our social media, please. 12 to 188.
Please.
Did y'all check inside each one of those buses behind TW Hunter?
10-4, so we check them all.
Okay, well, we'll let the three closest to the building. Will you ask Trenchville to respond to the area of National Pike and Carrion Road? There's a juvenile in that area wearing black pants and a red t-shirt, shaking back and forth like he had autism. It was just reported to us.
outside of Long Hollow from Killing Lane to Center Point has been checked.
Can you check the field houses that are up on top of the hill by the practice field back behind TW Hunter? I don't see that anybody has tracked through there on foot.
10-4. Look one, and my starting location's clear. Residents involved at 3221 Long Hollow Pike is clear. And from my starting location to Shackle Island, I've walked the entire creek bed and then up to is clear.
Myself and 182 have been behind TW Hunter, all the way behind Beach, football field and baseball field, up in the fields, checking tree lines, all the way to the cemetery, behind Beach Road Presbyterian. We're still here so far, it's clear.
Okay, so they had a lot going on that morning. A lot going on. Went on for 2 weeks until they said, we're not searching anymore. We have to take more of an investigative stance. Well, this fell on deaf ears because JLR put out that Chrissy Poo and volunteers were out searching for Sebastian. Of course, the question is, why are you putting it out now? And I don't mean JLR. Why is Chris allowing himself now to be seen out searching? I don't expect to see anybody out searching. I really don't. What the hell is the point of parents going, oh, look, I put up a flyer. Oh, look, I knocked on this door. Oh, look, I've been searching. You know, you obviously have something else on your mind because you're looking for your child. So my thing is, what is the point in this now? Who are you trying to prove what to? You already said enough when you bragged about your punishments that you gave him. You
Myself and 182, we've not made ourselves around to the front of the schools inside the school check. We're still in the back.
Very mobile units on Long Hollow Pike. 3 is.
Go ahead, 3.
The bus and the shed have been checked at 3220.
10-4.
Thank you. Can you and your partner stop at Willow Bend and go house to house up Willow Bend? Check all those, please. See what people have driven through. If it doesn't look like anybody went house to house.
Yeah, well,
Every house on the honeysuckle has been checked. People that answered the door have only seen the trash man this morning, nothing else. The White House and Red Barn adjacent to TW Owner, 2105 New Hope is clear.
3417 THP has joined in with myself and 517 on Willow Bend to check houses.
10-4.
The big holding pond has been cleared by Hendersonville Fire. They're going to rehab at Shackle Island for a bit, then go to the one over by the cemetery.
10-4.
Field houses behind Beach, soccer field's been searched. We're going to head over to the side field house across the street from the fire hall.
106, 108, 110, 112, Willowbrook, all check, no contact with any homeowners. And none of these houses have crawl spaces.
Beach Football Complex.
Are y'all still searching that area?
Yes, sir.
Made contact with a realtor at 114. Hasn't seen him, and all the rooms have been cleared. 116 made contact with that homeowner. He said he has seen that child walking in the neighborhood in past times, but not recently.
All right. So for those that are saying that, the neighbors aren't cooperative, they talked to a ton of neighbors that day. A ton. Wicklow said the so-called mother co-signs the abuse. She sickens me, my opinion. I'm right on board with you. Tar Heel is what I call her. Why haven't these two been interrogated? Not interviewed, interrogated. Actually, they have been. According to Seth's mother, they have been. All of them.
The main field house next to the freshman annex has been completely searched. All clear. It's got beach softball, beach football. It's the one next to the beachgoing church between it and the freshman annex. It's the main football complex.
Me and Marco's back here in the back of the cemetery back here.
No contact with anyone, and his truck is not here either.
So I think the lady's here trying to get in her driveway in your cars, and is the keys in it by chance? It is, but it's locked.
Okay. Yeah, she's trying to get in the driveway. We haven't had a process.
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
You may do this, man. We just put another can on the ground at the house. See if we fix anything. We are breaking off fuel gallons for fuel.
Refuel.
The creek worsens to New Shackle Long Hollow and the bridge there, full been checked. What's your location?
I'm looking by 109 in Thornton's right now. I just got a phone call. Kid matching that description, hiding under the bridge, lower station camp behind the market. I'll be en route. I'm close.
If we get somebody else on the other side of their nursery to come down, she stated that he could be on that side.
446, where was the last thing at?
Just under the bridge. She stated that when she went down to turn around, he was gone.
446. Did you talk to the client?
She's still on the bridge. White female, black leggings, I believe, blonde hair.
To 447, 446. You seen any tracks that way?
I'm taking the creek over.
See any track? 446 to 447. Hold your location, please. I'm on foot now.
10-4. I know they've got the dog up there.
The helicopter's coming back to you. 158 Upper Station. The residents say the ETA, approximately 5 minutes ago, somebody walked through that gate right below you. There's somebody in black. There's a deputy at 158. I saw somebody in black on the tree line. I don't know if it's one of our guys. Yeah, there's two law enforcement guys walking back here on the tree line. Let's go through there. 12 to 24. How long have they lived in that house?
A year.
Where were we at before?
Cambridge Farms, Scout. 449 Remington in Cambridge Farms.
White male, gray t-shirt, white pants. They didn't get to see his face, kind of shaggy blonde hair.
We'll be out at Lower Station, Scarlet, and Big Station with a white male juvenile with four-wheeler in the creek.
Who checked out with a juvenile on station camp?
This is not going to be our missing juvenile. He's with his father in the creek. I made contact with the male, the caller, and him in the truck called about. It's not our subject.
And yes, for legitimate tips regarding the disappearance or a sighting of Sebastian, call 800 TBI find. Now, back to good old Kathy being harassed. Good old Kathy. This is from Blank Screen. He got the voicemail. Okay, so this was left on Kathy Bowersock's phone. Again, she put in the Facebook group, not asking for consideration here. I don't expect that from anyone on this site. If you have the nerve to call my personal and business cell phone and leave a disgusting voicemail, be adult enough not to block your number. I don't hide my identity yet. My problem with this is not the frustration that people have with the case. It's that it clogs the pipes. You see, because this has been turned over to law enforcement, so they have to find out who's threatening horse teeth. That's what we have to find out. Here is the voicemail.
Hello, I just wanted to let you know that you and your husband and son are going to burn in hellfire and sulfur for the rest of eternity. I just wanted to let you know for killing a little child with a disordered, a sick child. I just wanted you to know you're going to burn in hell, and I will give you anything. If I could pick anybody in the world to watch die, it would be you and your husband and your son. It's gonna happen. Turn.
Woo! Woo! Someone's fired up. My goodness. Now, I don't care how mad you are at somebody, you probably shouldn't leave a message like this. Although it did give me a bit of a giggle. Let's listen to it again. Because let's also not forget that old Kathy is behind what's going on with her granddaughter Faith. But this is not cool, okay? This is not cool. Nobody needs to be leaving these voicemails for Sebastian's step-grandmother, okay? Step-grandmother. Kathy and Terry never gave a shit about Sebastian, okay? They are not bothered by his disappearance. They consider it to be Katie's problem. They think Seth is some kind of leech on society. Kathy's words, not mine.
Hello, I just wanted to let you know that you and your husband and son are going to burn in hellfire and sulfur for the rest of eternity. I just wanted to let you know for killing a little child with a disordered, a sick child. I just wanted you to know you're going to burn in hell, and I will give you anything. If I could pick anybody in the world to watch die, it would be you and your husband and your son. It's gonna happen. Turn yourselves in, you evil, evil people. Turn yourselves in.
Woo! Woo! Turn yourselves in. You evil, evil people, turn yourselves in. Well, if that's all it takes, it would be done. But I'll give old girl an E for effort. We do not know who left the voicemail. The voice does sound familiar. But SF Investigates was on Down the Rabbit Hole. Check her out. She's a sweet lady. And he gave a lot more insight into his time with Chris and Katie.
Like where you could, in other words, when she was talking on the phone, how he exits to go to the, he would have gone to the front door, which is just immediately right there. What the window was like and what sensors and security there was on that. And then he showed me the canine tracking paths that some of the canines took, which was eventually that led to the retention pond. So he took me the whole way to that. And then, we really talked about what the options were from there. Because, the thing is, the landscape is changing there because it's a subdevelopment, housing development, so everything's being graded and everything. But,
I saw you show us that area
Mhm.
pretty well. What did you think about that area? I mean, for someone, for this young boy to just walk out like that. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Well, so before I went there, running search and rescue models and just looking at it on Google Earth, where it's really, you don't get a true picture of it. I really thought the area to the north and kind of northwest, that's very wooded and everything, it would be the prime area. But what you don't see on Google Earth, and even with the, even with like Sartopo, seeing what, even with the contour lines and everything, is the elevation change is like really pretty drastic. So if you went to the north, not only would you have to go through other people's yards, again, and not trip any cameras, but you'd also then have to climb. So this is actually to the south, but it's the same type of thing, how it's a really steep, incline all of a sudden. And I just don't think he'd be able to do it without either getting caught on camera and also with no shoes. If he truly has no shoes, and that's really perplexing in itself.
There you go, private investigator. Let's look at it. We talk about this with Summer Wells. No shoes, no shoes, no shoes. Okay, well, how did he walk over all this stuff? I mean, he's walking around. A lot of people are asking, what is he doing for Chris and Katie? It doesn't appear to me that he's helping their cause, because everything he puts out, it seems to, it's like a boomerang. It comes right back to them. This whole, oh yeah, he did hide. Oh yeah, he did run off a lot. He's putting that out there. They must be boiling over the top mad.
Still can't, figure that one out. I just think now the area to the east, which would be going towards the school,
okay,
and the area to the south, which would be going to Happy Hollow.
So this is the area.
Yeah,
okay,
Happy Hollow, or whatever the road's called, something Hollow Road, is a better area. And the way that you went to the retention pond was heading, I mean, literally it's a direct, the retention pond is right in between the line he was walking and the school. And it really makes me wonder if, and this isn't something that I've talked to Chris and Katie about, because I just kind of thought about it after, but it really makes me wonder if maybe, was there like a school assignment due that he didn't have done and didn't have something for? Was he trying to get to his locker at school? Was he, was there something he was missing? I don't know if he's the kind of kid that's stressed out about assignments and stuff like that, but it sure seems like he was going the direction of the school. And is no shoes because he was afraid about waking up and making noise, leaving the house.
yeah,
I don't know. The other thing I'll note too, is that when I was there.
Okay, from the dispatch and the information that was given in the very beginning. In the very, very beginning. I don't mean last week. I don't mean last month. I don't mean in July. I'm talking the morning of. They said every time he would get in trouble, he would want to go back to that school. Now, this is their private investigator, okay? This is their private investigator. This is not Seth's. This is not some person that just stuck their head in there. He said everything is showing that he was trying to get back to the school. Where in the world is he? Where is he?
There. I didn't notice till I was actually leaving that they had 2 dogs because they were kind of in a big pen area. Like the kitchen was kind of like gated up. The dogs didn't make a sound when I came in. So I don't think people talking about the dogs, not alerting or anything is anything, because they didn't make a noise when I came in.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I didn't. I had no
Wow.
idea they were even there. So
Oh my gosh. With his kind of level, so it's because people have made out Sebastian to be like this nonverbal child and he doesn't know or anything like that. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, he looks like, I would think he'd be familiar with the area, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is it possible that he's familiar with the area and somehow he met someone and he was abducted, or what are your thoughts about that?
So I don't have any evidence of the abduction theory right now, but listen, I'm an investigator. I'll go with the evidence. If any evidence shows that, I hope that's the case. I truly do. I hope somebody has him and we get him back. I just don't have anything to show that right now. Chris did say he's directionally challenged, but this is not. So I've gotten the impression, I'm not trying just to bag on Seth, but I have gotten the impression from Seth that this is a kid that needed a lot of help. We're talking about like diapers and stuff, and so that's not what I've seen in recent videos that have come out. Some recent stuff has come out, like him at a birthday thing. They were playing like Jeopardy or something, and that's not what we saw. And then it makes me wonder, well, if that is how he was, and Seth planned on taking him and to get custody, and then he was going to be working 12-hour days and leaving Sebastian alone. How does that jive? Like, is he capable or is he not capable? And he was going to homeschool
he have somebody
him.
set up there, right, to watch him while he's working?
That's from what I've heard, that wasn't going to be the case, but I could be wrong. But from what I heard, that wasn't going to be the case, and then he was going to homeschool him. We hear that Sebastian loved schooling, loved his teachers. Why would you homeschool him and keep him home and he would have nothing to do all day long? So it does make me wonder if he was stressing out about the possibility of that. And I don't think that was set in stone. If that transition was going to happen, I know that Dog is saying that this is a custody battle. There was no custody battle. There's no court case. There's no lawyers involved. There's no nothing. And it's so, I don't know. I think it's just all being misportrayed. And I think it's incredibly frustrating for Chris and Katie. And because there's just so much non-truth out there.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm so happy. Shout out to Wim, who said, and I think the point is, this is not every autistic person is disabled. So I think that's the piece that a lot of people are missing, that they're wanting to say, well, my son or maybe a family member is autistic, or my daughter.
Okay, this is what's been troubling with me from the start. All right. What are we talking about with Sebastian? And no one seems to make it clear to us. Is he able to care for himself? That's one question. I've asked that over and over. Why did he have to have pull-ups on? Was he going through puberty and, wet the bed? Sometimes it does happen with teenage boys. It's not rare. We hear on one hand, he's high functioning, can beat anybody in chess, remembers numbers, his father's number in particular, off the top of his head, knows exactly where his father lives. We know he knows where the school's at. So what are we talking about here? I muted myself. I had to sneeze. There are different levels of conditions. I'll say condition. I think that's a nicer way to say it. So what are we talking about here? Can someone be honest and say, this is what we were dealing with? These were the problems at home? The transparency has got to come from the ones that knew Sebastian the best.
Or whatever it may be. And therefore, this is how they would do things. And I also think that we've been, as a community here, been painted this idea of who or what Sebastian was doing from one parent to the other. And it sounds very conflicting sometimes of,
Right.
Their children's abilities or non-abilities or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it leaves us very lost, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, being on a couple of search and rescue teams, law enforcement teams, autistic missing children is one of our big priority. And it's something that we really train a lot more in now because there's new protocols as far as, we go out and we defend the water now. We're not really looking for them immediately. We go out and we defend the water and let them come to us. And but this is not because they're disabled. These are, autistic children and adults are super creative, inquisitive, people that explore and they like, in like to experience things and they have different sensory perceptions. And so they're not doing this because they're disabled or they're getting in trouble or something like that. They're just, especially the children don't understand the risk or don't have that fear that we might hope. And so it's a real problem with water, but there's not.
Okay, well, he's not in the water. They've gone through the retention pond. They've checked all that stuff. And I can't stand the pronouns. They is more than one person, okay? I love what Hot Mess Express said. Love you, Hot Mess. If you've met one person with autism, then you've only met one person. That's it. Please do not dumb him down anymore. And I don't mean you guys because you're not that way. It just seems like his characteristics, his victimology, the whole 9 yards, someone is not being honest about it. It still hits me in a really strange way. The text that Chrissy Pussfoot sent to Seth and said, don't be mad, but Sebastian's missing. Don't be mad, but Sebastian's missing. No.
Nothing to suggest that Sebastian, couldn't. I don't know. It's some of the stuff I've taken from Seth is that he just couldn't really do much on his own, without help. And I don't believe that's the case, at all.
Why? And this has this been substantiated that, because I've heard rumors from different places that there was a CPS or DHS investigation against Chris and the family with regards to Sebastian. So
I honestly don't know that. That's not something I'm gonna go there with them on because from what I'll just say from what I've heard just through and not from them is that there was something investigating and closed. And I know that I think it was even Seth that said that they had to kind of talk to Sebastian, something about you can't just make things up. But because I think there was one against Seth too, where he was saying things to teachers, and teachers are mandatory reporters,
absolutely,
and they have to report everything. So, but there's never he would have been taken from that house if there was something
Okay, I do want to talk about this because Seth did say this on another panel that when accusations were brought up at the school, Seth did say to Sebastian, listen, you can't make these things up. Now, was that in regards to the accusation against Seth or the accusations from the Proudfoot home? Does anyone know? Because I cannot get clarification on that. And yes, Seth did say that. It's like we have two left feet here, if you want to know the truth. We have two. We have one family saying he's smart as a whip, can beat anyone at chess, remembers numbers off the top of his head, but we have him in diapers. Then we have the other side saying, oh no, he needed a lot of help to manage daily life. Now let's talk about school. He was in, trying to find the words so I don't get massacred for this. He was in normal classes, okay? He wasn't exiled from the rest of the school. Brianna's World said, yes, Brooks. Seth did say that, but he said he had no idea how bad the abuse was until he got those CPS records back and flipped out when he saw the reports. And that is extremely sad. Thank you for answering that. That's extremely sad. And now Sebastian's missing. Believe your kids. Even if they are telling you a tall tale, something else is going on.
Absolutely. Well, and let me add this. I worked in, because there were people in the chat who were saying this. I worked in CPS for 10 years, guys. You would be amazed how many referrals people get. And sometimes there's substantiated things and unsubstantiated things. A referral, a call to the hotline does not necessarily mean an investigation. It could just be like a concern. And honestly, out of everybody here in the chat, if you got your kids, CPS doesn't discriminate. They're going to investigate or, maybe move those referrals out the way and tend to more pertinent safety concerns of children, if that makes sense.
And I've been working with a couple CPS investigators here in California lately because of a couple cases, and we have one in particular of a 13-year-old who's learned they can weaponize the system, and they tell us, they're like, if my parents don't let me do this, I just report them to CPS.
Yes.
And they do, investigators do have to go follow up with that. And there's not much you can do besides have a talk with the kid. What are you going to do? You can't throw them in jail. But they've learned, and the thing is, they talk to their friends that have CPS in their life, and they've learned to, like, hey, if I can't get my way, I just call CPS and say this happened or that happened. So, you can't believe everything when it comes, unless there's like a CPS action taken, like you're saying you're with CPS, like when you guys take action, then it's because it's substantiated. But I gotta believe there's a high percentage of false calls.
Absolutely. There is a correlation between kids that are beyond the control of parent. That the parent, maybe it's just saying, all right, it's time out, or it's time for you to go to bed, or you will not be out past this time, you will come back home at this time, and then they call CPS, and then it becomes like this. Oh, this is just a conflict, y'all. This happens a lot. So for those,
they try to take the phone, and it's like,
okay, let's talk about the phone. By the way, I posted the link if anybody wants to come up and chat with me and tell me what you think. Now, down the rabbit hole, she is saying she worked for CPS for 10 years, and she said you wouldn't believe the calls we get, and it could just be a conflict in the house. There's actually no abuse going on. It could just be they took something from a child, like per se the phone. Steve brings up the phone. How many of you honestly believe that Sebastian, who can remember things from memory, okay? Phone numbers, how to get to his dad's house, all that stuff. He had very good memory retention, has very good memory retention. Do you think he could have gotten on the internet without anyone knowing? True question. Just because Tough Nuts Chris says he wasn't allowed, or Mean Street Katie, Seth wasn't in his daily life, so he can't really give the history on that. You can tell your kids till you're blue in the face, you're not allowed to. But guess what? They're going to figure out a way regardless. And in this day and age, it's more than possible for him to get online, talk to people, gaming, whatever. Because people are not always looking. Kids will always find a way to do what they want.
It's like that's the big thing that I've run across with these kids. Like, they take my phone, I'm calling CPS.
Exactly. Oh, electronics phones. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. For those that are believing the hype that there was a CPS investigation regarding this, this can happen to anybody. This just happens to be happening to this family because of what has happened, with Sebastian missing and whatnot. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
With the whole situation with, I guess I'm so confused as to how somebody who is a reality TV star person, and it seems to me that it's interesting because I only hear about this personality when a case is national news, right? Not when it's something local, not when it's like, here comes this reality TV star. What do you make of this circus that has built upon this situation?
I don't know. It's nothing against him. I mean, but this is not a. I got a text from them.
I'm not Pam. Pam said, Brooks, where is my T-shirt, you dirtbag? You didn't win Idiot of the Week, but I can change that real quick, Pam. Okay, send me an email. Send me your size. I'm gonna assume you're like an 8XL. Send it over, and I'll get you your T-shirt. All right? Or are you like a skinny crackhead? I don't know. CLL72020@gmail.com.
Chris and I were put in a group text, and then Katie and I were put in a group text and it was like, this is so-and-so from Dog the Bounty Hunters, high risk fugitive task. I'm like, well, I can't help you with a high risk fugitive. I've never been a bounty hunter, but that's I guess that's what they're considering. Anybody that wants to search for Sebastian, I will go out and search. If they have private property, do it legally. Great, more eyeballs, the better. But just because you found some bail jumpers does not translate over to missing autistic children. It's not. He's used to dealing with getting tips from.
And I agree with V. Oakley. I can't just say SF Investigates is making this a circus. I look at the rumors that are coming out from all sides that just blow my mind. And it takes everything off the focus of Sebastian. And when you speak about what could have possibly been going on in the home, it's like, well, that has nothing to do with his disappearance, Brooks. Brooks, that has nothing to do with his disappearance. Of course it does. All right, we got a little bit backstage. She wants to give her thoughts on this. Good morning, Lil Bit. How are you?
Good morning. Good. Yourself?
Pretty good, my friend. So what do you think about all this? This is crazy. We're going on a year. We're going on a year.
I agree with you on the sense of we got to stick with Katie on knowing the most about Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already heard that Seth wasn't with him prior to for at least, a month?
Mm-hmm.
So the functions of his daily life, or anybody's daily life when they're in a blended, separated family like that, is going to be usually the one that has the, primary care.
100%. Thank you. Yes.
So all his little, whether somebody wants, whether he's on a spectrum or he's not on a spectrum, it doesn't matter. All kids have their own little, things that they do. And she's going to be the one that's going to know that the best. And when so she can answer more questions. And so I just believe that she isn't telling everything. Not even necessarily just about that night, but just in general about him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and everything is important. Let me answer this real quick from Move On Dirtbag. Brooks, you're a liar. You said that Pam did win a t-shirt, and now you're saying she didn't. Stop the lies. No, Idiot of the Week, that is Jennifer Coffindaffer, okay? Lisa K. Ruitz, Thor, and then there was another lady, but it's not Pam. All right? Because Jennifer Coffindaffer, she was running with it for a long time. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I love it. I love it. I did at one point in time wonder or think, could there have been a chance that for whatever reason he was outside, not even for sure the time frame, and he got maybe by some random person, not even anybody that we've even heard of. Maybe he was hit by a vehicle, maybe somebody was drinking or whatnot, and it didn't look good, and maybe they, cleaned up their mess. And, I don't know. What do you think about that?
There are so many possibilities running through my head. A murder in the house at this point, and a lot of people will argue with me on this, does not seem probable because forensics, dogs, they know how to sniff blood. Sebastian, supposedly he's this real unruly kid. You think he's not going to fight back? Okay, let's say he was drugged and drugged out of the house. Then where'd he go?
Right, so take him out. So that means somebody had to come in.
And, how is Katie? Don't get me wrong. She seems like a pretty stout chap. Okay. But how is she going to carry him out? Did she have a damn wheelbarrow?
That's where I go back to the vehicle.
But the vehicle hadn't left.
Oh. Well, until that morning.
Yeah, because she was out looking for him. Hey, and don't think I'm taking up for Chris and Katie, because I think a lot went on in that house they will not answer for. And I do not like the deflection from day one. No, he doesn't run off. No, he doesn't hide. And now their private investigator is saying, yeah, he did. All right, let's look at what else he has to say. This is their dude.
Yeah.
Inside the jail, criminal networks, people are, getting deals because of this, because, to give information. It's on an island, so it's not the same. And I don't think he's there in Tennessee anyways. I don't think
so
he's out. I don't think
how is he searching?
I don't know. They said he had 24 investigators is what I was told. And I was out there. I didn't see a single one,
Steve, it's 24 content creators on YouTube.
Yes,
I see you laughing.
I know I'd just like to know how many of them are licensed. He's calling this an intelligence agency. You can't operate as an intelligence agency or an investigation agency or an investigator or anything without being a licensed investigation agency. And I don't think parole. The first question on the application is, if you have a criminal history, and if you do, you're, not all criminal.
You can't.
But,
you can't do
you can't be on
investigations.
parole. No, you can't. They're not letting parolees
Okay, so we can tell that the host of Down the Rabbit Hole does not believe in anything Seth is doing, and that is her prerogative, as they say. Shayla said, I kind of think it would be obvious that he was moved in the morning when she left, in quotes, to look for him. Okay, there's a thought. What do you think a little bit?
Well, I guess it could be obvious. I guess it would maybe just depend. Is a vehicle in the garage? Did she put him in the trunk? Could she have,
parked in the garage? Brianna's World said KP didn't get out of her vehicle not one time to look for Sebastian. No, she was driving around, just like Seth. He didn't get out of his vehicle. He was driving up and down roads yelling for Sebastian. That's, Sebastian would recognize his voice. The police were playing his favorite song, Eye of the Tiger, thinking that he, wherever he's hiding, would come out. There was a lot that went into this search, but the investigation is frustrating everyone to no end.
You know, yeah, we'd like you to go investigate. You know, I mean, we as investigators, I mean, I only do missing persons, but a lot of investigators do criminal defense work and stuff like that. Could you imagine, like, having a parolee? Like, I mean, you know, parolee
See,
is technically still in jail.
You're killing people's dreams. Don't
I
do
know. I know. Hopefully this doesn't air inside the jail. It's like, imagine everybody at Pelican Bay is like, oh, that's our next gig. Yeah.
Let me put that off the check mark.
Yeah.
I can't with you.
It's and then we're gonna have parolees sedating people with Rufinol and all these other drugs they were gonna use to get confessions out of people. Which what, you didn't hear about this? This is what started it all.
I read it, but I was like, this got to be a joke. I wasn't sure.
It wasn't a joke. Oh, it was not a joke. I mean, no. I mean, I talked to the FBI and DEA, and I had conversations with them, and that's why I think they backed it off a couple of days later. I'm like, well, we're only going to do it in controlled settings at like prestigious medical centers. Doctors are not allowed to prescribe any medication if it does not have a medical purpose. And getting the truth out of somebody is not a medical purpose. And you sure as hell can't use Rufinol and, you know, all.
And I agree, that story was so ridiculous about the truth serum and everything. I mean, this silliness we have to ignore to keep our focus on Sebastian. I'm sure you agree a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a missing child, and I understand, you know, people laugh or whatever nervously. I just don't find anything funny about why she's laughing so hard. I mean, I get there's all kinds of stuff that they've given people in the past, and you know, whether it's legal or it's not legal, however they did it. I mean, that's a true statement. They have done stuff like that before. They weren't going to do it in this case. There wouldn't have been any reason to do it in this case.
No, I mean, they have to follow the evidence. The question is, what exactly is the evidence? We won't know for a very long time because they're certainly not going to feed anything to the peanut eating elephants at the circus. They're just not going to.
You know, the biggest concern that I have, and Brooks, what about you? The stories. I mean, just the information that's being put out there by one parent, and then it changes by the same parent, and then it goes between all of them. They're all like that. All three of them.
Well, what frustrates me is like you've got three people that are responsible for Sebastian. You've got mom, you've got dad, you've got stepdad, and they all have totally different accounts of his character. That's always frustrated me.
Yep.
One says, oh, yeah, no, he's smart. He can do this. He can do this. He can do that. Retains numbers by heart. He got it down. Don't worry about it. Then you have another one that says, oh, no, he needs a lot of help. Then you have the mama who was home that we know for sure because we don't know where old Chris was. And you watch their interviews and you see Katie saying, he's not a runner. And like she's rocking back and forth. He's not a runner. He doesn't run away. He doesn't. And I'm like, okay. So that's what you're saying. But now she tells the private investigator that he had been doing that. And people discounted all of the neighbors that said, yeah, he does.
You know, I was divorced with two small children at one point in time, and they had, you know, because their dad had, you know, every other weekends or whatnot, kind of like what Seth has. Their behavior was the same. You know, their characteristic behaviors were the same at my place as they were at their father's, depending on maybe being it was a weekend, you know, as what he called it, a weekend dad. Maybe they did, you know, funner things, or they did things where the rules weren't exactly the same, but the character of how both my boys acted was the same. Theirs on two way too. I mean, it doesn't make sense for one to say, you know, he acted like number one, and then the other one 100. There's too much of a differentiation in there.
Huge. And there's a lot of talk about how come it took Chris so long to get from Memphis to Hendersonville. I don't believe, I'm just outside looking in, not taking up for anybody. I'm certainly not excusing any ill behaviors. It seems to me it was common to not be able to find Sebastian. The reason I'm saying that is because instead of Chris grabbing his truck keys and heading up the highway, he waited for relief to come to take over the crane, then went back to try to help Katie. Then he messages Seth and says, don't be mad, Sebastian's missing. This is a very common conversation between the three of them. I know that's going to make people very upset. But this seems to me now with what has come out, it's a common thing.
Okay, so can I throw something down? Because, I mean, that sounds good. But if it is so common, how come Chris felt like he needed to call the cops right away?
And that's a good, maybe because it had been so long since they couldn't find him. I don't know. She couldn't find him. I don't.
She got up at 6, and that's when he was not there. She called him after about 1-2 minutes flat. She said, going through the house. And then he called. So if it, you know what I mean? It's just like that part of it. I mean, what you're saying, that's perfect sense. At that age, at 15, if you have a child who's done this before, you probably don't right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you talk to them while they're driving around looking, maybe contact a couple family members, friends. I'm still kind of curious on why no one sent Seth a text in the very beginning saying, hey, by chance, has Sebastian tried to reach out to you, contact you, call, leave a message, text, something, versus just don't be mad or 911. Nobody seemed to have asked, hey, did you happen to hear from him? Because he's not at home.
It kind of, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, wouldn't you reach out and say, have you heard from Sebastian? Because, well, dude, we can't find him. And as you know, he runs off quite a bit. We can't find him at the school. None of his friends have seen him. Have you heard from him? That would make more sense to me. Britt said maybe he has been missing before, and that's why the don't be mad thing was put in. Yeah, because Seth might have been mad once before. Think about that. That is not a sentence you would put out unless you've had the conversation before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if he was 4, 5, 6, hell, all the way up to 10, I could see you being a little bit more like that. But at 15, and he's done it before, and for him to call right away, yeah, it just doesn't seem right.
Alicia P. has a question. She said KP was gone from the house that morning for 40 minutes. The school is like 10 minutes away. Where all did she go? According to the dispatch, she was in another neighborhood. Obviously, she had to go through their neighborhood to get to the other neighborhood. And then the police got there around 7 a.m. It is a mess, and it's only getting worse. Either the police are loving this because they're not being bothered, because it all seems to be taken up on the internet, or they're hating it because every time something's put out, like their house is for sale, they never luminoled, they wouldn't allow dogs in. It's like, really, you're not going to help the situation with rumors.
Right.
Lillian, I don't think you understand. Lillian said Brooks may not be able to afford the shirt, but she still shouldn't play with Pam's emotions like that. All Pam's got to do, she was never Idiot of the Week. All she has to do is send me an email and I'll print one up and it'll be sent right to her. That's insane. I don't know you. I've never seen you in here before. But their lives are all falling apart. And I wouldn't want to be in anyone's shoes.
is I feel so bad for him, for Sebastian, because it kind of seems like people that were responsible for him, they all have something going on in a negative way with him. It just doesn't seem like wherever he was going to go, it was ever just going to be what I consider normal.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we know that sometimes mom and dad don't get along, but mom and dad got to figure out a way to get along for the children.
Yeah.
All these other, narcotic medications they were talking about. I mean, could you imagine? First of all, let's say they just happened to trip upon the right person. That person would get. It's already super difficult. He's piling on, and he's been doing this since the start, And,
Yeah. Why do you think that is, though? Because I know, like, people have, and I mean, this is maybe speculation, like, I don't want to speak, but it seems like the divide is, and I called this out last time when I was live talking about, your footage, there are these armies or warriors of people that say they are Sebastian's army.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I have to question, like, well, weren't you the same ones that were Summer Wells armies? Weren't you the same ones that were the other missing child's armies? And where are you guys at? And where's the updates? So it makes me wonder, like,
she has a really good point there. Brandon E. said the grand jury is still meeting. Handcuffs are coming. Well, the grand jury is in secret, and they have them quite often in Tennessee. Do we know the grand jury is for Sebastian?
Right.
Because I got my hopes up on that with Summer Wells many times when they announced a grand jury in the Rogersville Review. Well, as we know the grand jury's meeting, but it had nothing to do with Summer.
Yep.
Alicia said the grand jury meets every single month there. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Tennessee is a big grand jury state, huge. I do see what she's saying when people are going on and on and on and saying, we're Sebastian's army. We're warriors for Sebastian. I recognize these names from other cases. And I'm like, so you gave up on that case? And now because you've got a dumpster fire to watch, now you're part of this army? You can care about more than one child. You really can.
Absolutely. We can just be the children's army. I mean, for all children.
Yeah, it is very frustrating when you see it. And it's like, hold on, dude. You actually admin a group for another missing child, and you do nothing with that group because now you're part of what they call the green team. Or I'm Sebastian's army. Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with it because he's missing. He's missing. But come on. You can't just go from one. I mean, don't get me wrong. We talk about a different case every day on here because I try to spread myself thin, if you know what I mean. This is just, it's crazy. And I don't know that Steve's going to find anything in regards to Sebastian because it seems like his clients can't tell him everything or don't want to. What do you think, Little Bit?
Well, I was going to ask you something a little bit to the left on here. They mentioned that 3 a.m. a lot, right? Okay. So I don't think I'm clear on the legal guardianship of Sebastian. I know what gets said, but I've never really ever heard from on Katie's end, and I've never seen a document, so it's kind of hard to tell, who's telling the truth anyways. But usually you have one. and then you have the other. There's sometimes that there is a joint, not just like, where they both, but even on a joint, you usually have one that has the rights over like medical, this and that. Those places that you can send children, like kind of what I guess they were talking about together at one point in time for like
Right.
unruly children. They're, one of the biggest things that they have is they come in the middle of the night, like around 3 a.m. And it's like a kidnapping. And they try to do it very, very secretively. But the parent that the child is with knows it. And then, they swoop them away to another state, wherever. Now, I understand this is national. I understand, places are going to see it. But let's just say mom has that ultimate say. And she puts, don't give the information away of where he is. I have the say or whatever. Would that change, do you think, because law enforcement's looking for him and stuff? Do you think that place would have to tell them? Because, those places are roguish. A lot of those places are roguish. We've seen where they close them down or, they're not following protocol.
Well, there's a missing child and there's an Amber Alert and there's an ongoing investigation. So if he was in, let's say, a behavioral health center or something like that, they would have nailed that down already. And the truth is, I believe that Katie, with the mean streak, I think she withheld a lot of things from Seth. She hates Seth. Now, she came out in the beginning and said, oh, and his dad would be right there. His dad would be right there. Because she's trying to present there's nothing going on around here vibe. Well, it didn't take long to figure out that there is some kind of struggle that these three can't grasp.
Yeah.
Because when someone's missing, they check the jail, they check the hospitals, they check all that. They're not going to put all these resources and have a reward up if he's just been signed over to a hospital somewhere.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I mean, stranger things have happened. Don't get me wrong. Stranger things have happened. And this is a strange situation. Now, I don't know what was going on a couple of weeks ago when Chris asked Seth to come out and help him search. And they need to work together and all that stuff. And I guess he got a big, flat F no. These things don't need to be put out there because, again, it takes away, in my opinion, from Sebastian.
What is the end game here if it's not monetary?
I think I do think it's monetary. I think with Seth, and I told Chris and Katie this directly, what my thoughts were, and I do not believe that Seth has ever gotten over Katie. I think he's obsessed with Katie. I think he still has this fantasy of them getting back together. When he talks about Katie, he starts choking up and he talks about the perfect nucleus family or whatever he says.
Now, I want to talk about that with all of you because I do believe Seth still carries a flame for Katie. When he was talking about their wedding and how beautiful she was, I mean, he just kept going on and on and on and on. And at one point I'm thinking, okay, well, he's just giving respect, to Sebastian's mother, but I got a different vibe from it because he gets very shaken up when talking about Katie. Does anyone in here think that Seth could still be carrying a torch for Katie?
Absolutely.
Obviously, their life is bonded together forever because they have a child together. But I can tell you right now, I can call my boy's dad right now and he'll be like, what do you want? Okay.
Well, do you think
something going on? That's what I would get.
Do you think it was strange in the beginning that Chris made the comment on we're not gonna made an effort or felt the need to make the effort to say right from the beginning, all three of them, that we're not gonna create or go with a GoFundMe account. Like, why? I mean, to me, that just seemed odd.
I think the GoFundMe came down to he wanted to be readily available to be around and probably couldn't keep his mind on work. That's all I can say about that. Alicia P. said, a torch, no, I think it still hurts him. Emotional and deep. Because you can tell when it's brought up. I mean, he does have a different reaction to when Katie is brought up. Am I the only one that's noticed that?
No, he started to, didn't he kind of get weepy and when he was talking about their wedding day and yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying there was anything wrong with it, but that's another emotional vampire that she knows where to hit him.
Yeah.
I mean, his world was her and Sebastian. Now Sebastian's missing. And it's a sad situation. I don't really think he ever had a leg to stand on when it came to her. I really think she wears the pants in the family, even with Chris, even with the Bowersox. She's the one that filed the first protective order, and then everybody else filed single file behind her like a bunch of damn ducks. All right, now you filed, now you filed, now you filed. You think you're really going to make Kathy Bowersox go down and say, file this? She'd be like, no. She didn't give a shit about Sebastian. She didn't spend 2 seconds looking for him. It was probably a text message, we can't find Sebastian. Katie probably got back, or Chris, an emoji of a prayer hands. She don't give a rat's ass. Crazy Tooth Terry, he doesn't give a shit. But I guarantee he gave a shit when his son said, if anything happened in that house, it's because of my stepbrother, Chris.
Yeah. Well, and Katie does.
Strange. It's been a long time, and I think I'm not saying necessarily it was planned as the same, but I think he then used this situation as a way to try and get some alone time with Katie. And he talks about Katie a lot, in bizarre ways, and I think it has a lot to do with it. I don't think he's ever gotten over it. I think he's obsessed with her, and I don't think he realizes the trauma that he caused her when she was much younger, and he needs to think about that.
And even though people want to ignore that fact of their relationship, it is something that we have to remember, and it is part of the case. We have to be fair here.
Yep.
Katie was removed from her home. None of this is an excuse for any abuse towards Sebastian. I'm gonna. There's your asterisk. Okay. There's your asterisk. She was removed from her home because of horrific SA. Somehow, a 20-something-year-old man befriends her. According to his mother, she had 2 abortions. Seth said it on Pascal's show. And then she has Sebastian at 19. I don't know about you ladies, anyone in here that has a daughter, but I can tell you something right now. Any older man that would come around my daughter, their asses would be gone. Alicia said the abortions were not from Seth, but according to his mother, Robin Rogers, they were. So I don't know why his mama is saying this. she got hushed up real quick. There's a lot going on in this family. I probably got myself into a lot of trouble for saying this, but I mean, really, we want Sebastian found safe. Alicia P. said that is not what Robin said. Actually, she did. She put it in a Facebook group. It was brought up to Seth on another channel, and him and Tony said she's crazy. So I don't know. And if she had 2 abortions between the time she was 13 and 18 when she married Seth, well then, who's the dude she was with? With all these super sleuths around YouTube, who's the dude? And why did Seth's mother take her? Who's the dude?
I saw that post too. That's exactly what she said.
Mm-hmm. Hello, who knows? Maybe she got hacked. I don't know. I know that it really rattled Seth, and he was just like, oh no, she's crazy. Don't listen to her. I won't let her talk anymore. So she had another serious boyfriend, and then she marries Seth at 18, has Sebastian at 19. Who's the other dude? Because I'm sorry to say, a teenage. Because, I mean, a teenage girl having, I'm going to say procedures like that is pretty damn important. So who's the dude and who was she living with?
Yep.
And why is Seth's mother in the know about all this?
Yeah, why is she the one taking her?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm speechless. This
is my opinion. I mean, but I
Yeah.
told them both that I thought that was my opinion, and they listened. They didn't say anything back. So, but I feel that way. I think he's shown that.
Wow. Do you feel like then he's using this to kind of get back at her to a certain degree?
I do. I think he thought that he could parlay this into a way of being like, hey, listen, we're going to find Sebastian and be a happy family again, type of thing. And I don't think it was ever a happy family situation for Katie in those years. I think she was groomed, to be honest with you. And I think he's got some weird thoughts about it. And I don't blame Chris for being protective of Katie and watching over her in this situation, because there's some unhinged people involved in this case right now. And I think it's scary for them,
Yeah. I feel a level of sympathy for Seth because of the circumstances that he's in, but that's the only reason. Outside of that, outside of what I've seen that he's doing is not great, and it concerns me.
I feel for him too, but his actions are just like, I don't understand. It's not a person that seems that the main focus is his missing son anymore. It's the situation, and it's like what him and Tony can build out of this, or
it seems like they're feeding
seems
off
like
of
it's
it.
scripted. Sure seems very like it's scripted, like it's something that they want to.
I don't think it's scripted, but it's sad. And at the end of the day, whether Seth and Tony understand this or not, Dog the Bounty Hunter understands. I don't know anything about this Nick guy. This Sebastian's case will fade away. It will. People will move on to something else. They will. Valentine's Day is coming up. There will be another case. Unfortunately, that is how it works. And people will not be paying attention to Seth anymore. And that's when he is going to feel at his absolute lowest point. It happened with Gannon's mom, Landon. She was getting crazy, love and attention from people. And some are talking about Sebastian right now, saying, we're Gannon's army. We're Gannon's army. We're Gannon's army. And then they're gone. She said that was the lowest point during the investigation, with the, of course, with the exception of Gannon being murdered. She just couldn't believe it. She really thought she had made real friends. And that is going to happen to Seth. And that's very sad. Extremely sad. Don't think old Tony's going to stick around.
Oh, no.
If they find Sebastian tomorrow and they're like, yeah, it looks like he fell in a drainage ditch or something.
Yeah.
Case is closed. This is what happened. He broke his neck. I don't want that for him. And then it's all done and over. It's a very sad situation.
Yeah. Seems like he's a little easy to take advantage of. And I think he was taken advantage of by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and once he can't gain or capitalize on Seth anymore, he's going to be gone. He's already shown what he does. He's been around prior to Seth. We see how he works.
Well, we're not, and the thing is, as Seth investigates, I see where he's coming from, and I do believe that the history of this family is important, but shouldn't be the focus right now. Let them build that in trial if someone is actually responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. But the focus being on Seth and his relationship with Katie, albeit weird, because you can't tell me that they just suddenly got married on her when she turned 18. Albeit weird and creepy, Seth really wants his son back. He is grasping every straw.
Yeah.
And he probably doesn't understand that the people around him are exploiting the shit out of him.
I think this is the most that Seth has probably ever had in his life that he felt like cared about him. And in a very vulnerable, situation too. And then you have, I think, Tony, taking advantage of him. Mm-hmm. And then once it's all gone, what is Seth going to do? What's going to happen?
Tony will move on. But he is being, he really is. I see where he's coming from. Pat Kay explained it to me the best. She said he gets a free pass because he's going to try anything to find his son. And I get that because I would too. So, in closing, let me look at the poll. Hang on. What are we doing on the poll? Here we go. Oh, here we go. Who do you think is responsible for Sebastian's disappearance? Katie and or Chris, 84%. Woo! Bower Sox, 1%. Sebastian just got away, 4%. Whoa. I think you all have made up your mind. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm going to say thank you to all of you for being here, and we are going to continue to cover Sebastian's case. If you all don't mind, can you hit the like? Bueller. Hit the like and share this and ask your friends. Say, hey, are you into true crime? Come on over. We're live every day at 9 a.m. And thank you, Little Bit, for being here. Thank you, Mod Squad. So sorry about the T-shirt bandits that were in here breaking my balls. But that's okay. We can handle it. You guys have a great rest of Thursday and try to stay out of this nasty, cold, snowy weather. I love you all. Thank you for being here.